Well, that was a tremendously kind and generous introduction, so I thank you very much. And I thank you for the invitation to participate in this event. Now, my beat is basically U.S. foreign policy and U.S. National security policy. And we have until noon or 12:15 for this session. And I guess I'm repeating Carol here a little bit, but I understand the spirit of the enterprise is I am to make some fairly brief remarks. Maybe they won't be as brief as you want. And then we are to engage in a conversation. When we get to the conversation part, I'll serve as the moderator, and I'm happy to answer any questions that people have directed at me, but I think that the intent is not simply from you to me back to you, but from you to you. So we'll try to have a discussion in addition to simply questions and answers. I don't study criminal justice, so I'm not sure that my remarks are going to make the linkages between war and crime or between law enforcement and militarism that Peter was suggesting. I'm not questioning that those links exist, but that's kind of not what I do. What I wanted to do to kick this thing off this morning is to make a presentation that I imagine is going to take about 35 to 40 minutes to discuss the origins of the Bush doctrine of preventive war. And the rationale for choosing this topic is this, that I personally believe that there is far greater continuity than discontinuity between the policies of the Princeton administration, the Bush administration, and its predecessors than most people are willing to acknowledge, as applied generally to matters of national security and thinking about military power. Having said that, there is one aspect of the Bush administration's policies that does really mark, in my judgment, a radical departure from the past. And that is this doctrine of preventive war that we call the Bush doctrine that really expressed itself most directly in the decision to go to war with Iraq. So I'm going to give you my story of how the Bush doctrine came to be in hopes that that story will then provoke the conversation amongst us collectively about how did Americans come to view war as they viewed it circa 2003, at the time of the invasion of Iraq. How should we think about war or the role of force in international politics here in 2008 in light of what has happened in Iraq and to some degree in Afghanistan over the last 5+ years. So that's the plan in my, that's what I'm trying to do. So let me, with that as an introduction, let me begin. So topic is origins of the Bush doctrine of preventive war. I think to explain where the Bush doctrine comes from, you have to go back to World War II. And specifically, you have to go back to the end of the Pacific War and the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of 1945. And have to recall the problem created by the dropping of those two bombs. Now, in the eyes of some, there was no problem, of course. You know, the commander of the U.S. Army Air Forces in the Pacific who presided over the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was General Curtis LeMay.